What made you go to Colorado?
So, I mean, just like most immigrant families, like you go where your family is.
Okay.
And my mom's brother had been living in Colorado since like the late 80s, early 90s. And as people started to like immigrate to the U.S., he was like the family member. So everyone was like moving to Colorado. And I was looking for schools because I was in college, and I went to CU Boulder. So that he was like, that's like the best school in America. I didn't know anything about colleges. And he was like, that's the best school in America. So I was like, if that's the best school in America, then I want to go to CU Boulder. And that's kind of how I ended up in Colorado. And then graduated, started working. And then I kind of wanted to just get out. I got like, I don't know, it's like a bubble. I just didn't feel like I wanted like the fast paced environment. Always loved LA. And that's kind of how I came out here. I was like looking for like the right job to come out here and everything.
How did you find jiu-jitsu?
I found jiu-jitsu a really, really long time ago, like way before I even started it. So like back in like high school, like 2001, 2002, one of my friends was passing around a video, which ended up being like UFC one. I had no idea what it was. And they were like, yeah, this like crazy, like cage fighting. These guys like kill each other and whatever. And I watched the video, and you've got the picture behind you, but I watched the video of like Royce Gracie, and I was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't know anything about, like, I knew boxing, but I was like, what is this? Like, it's so weird. So I wanted to do it. And I started like following the UFC back then, Pride. And there was this one, you know, like Brazilian cat that was living in New Zealand that was like kind of like teaching jiu-jitsu, but there wasn't a scene. There was like no scene.
Gotcha, yeah.
And
especially in those days.
Back in those days, yeah, it was like 2001, 2002. And then I did two classes with this guy, like in a boxing ring after the boxing school had closed. It was like really weird. And then he just skipped town and disappeared and just couldn't find it again. So when I moved to the US, my goal was like, once I can afford it, I'm going to start doing it. So I went to a mall school. And in 2006, when I went there to mall school, I was like, you know, like, what are the fees like? And they told me the fees. And I was like, there's no way I can afford this. And I was like, okay, like my goal is get a job, make money, start doing jiu-jitsu. So officially I started, although I'd done like a bunch of classes, 2010 is when I really like started it and fell in love with the gi. Never put on a gi before, so it's cool.
Wow. So did you start during college or after college?
This was like during college. I was doing like no gi stuff. It was just like friends who had trained jiu-jitsu, and I didn't know anything because I couldn't afford it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was doing it in like the gym, like basketball shorts. But it was after college that I started. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. So I'm all Easton BJJ in Boulder. Yeah, what a spot, right? To start. What a great place, right? Legacy, right? History. They've been there. He's been there since the 90s. You know, one of my best friends, right? And and then luckily, like he told you about us here, right?
Yeah, I was trying to move to LA, and I remember a couple of times I was visiting, and I was asking him, I was like, where do I train? And he was like, what do you mean? At Alberto's, like, there's nowhere else to train. And honestly, like, that's what he said to me. And he connected us, and I think at the time it was a blue belt when I was visiting. I came and trained here a couple of times, got to know some of the guys like Chris and Jordan, in the earlier days. And then, I got my purple belt from Amal before moving out here. And then when I moved out here, I had my purple belt, and then just made it official. So, this was like, he always talked about you. Like, you were like his connection, like on the West Coast, you know? So we always knew about you.
Yeah, he's been like a big brother to me, right? He's been to all my main kind of key moments in life, you know, from jiu-jitsu, gi, MMA. Went with me to Japan, cornered me in my Japan fight and MMA fight and UFC, and he's just somebody like a big brother, you know. Yeah. Taking me to Brazil, right? Telling me to, hey, let's go. You should go to Brazil. When I was like 18, I'm like, what? Okay, let's go.
My favorite story is
I'm mauling, we call it, right? I'm all Easton, I'm mauling.
Yeah.